You've probably been told before that you can pick 2 out of the 3 options. You can have speed and quality, quality and cost, or cost and speed. That's kind of the project management triangle. You can really only pick 2 out of the 3 categories, but you can't really say, I want really high quality content at a really fast speed and a really low cost. Usually people will tell you that that's not how things happen. It's not realistic. But I'm here to tell you the opposite. I'm here to tell you that I think the landscape has changed, and it's in part due to technologies like artificial intelligence, but it's more than that. It's not just AI. It is the shifting landscape of how content creation, of how media has changed over the last decade. You may be wondering who I am. My name is Bailey Ingram. I'm a fractional chief creative officer and former director of video at Crumble, also known as Crumble Cookies. Before that, I was running my own freelance video production company, doing work both in the United States and abroad. And I had a lot of cool opportunities there, both at Crumble in my freelance work, and also just now, getting to chat with other people. And I've seen a lot, and I've considered a lot over the past few years about what has changed in content. And I'm excited to share with you guys 4 main pillars that I've seen kind of define what people should be thinking about and how they should be approaching content creation to really maximize their ability to have speed, quality, and cost in their content. It's not really as complex as some people might make it out to be. And some people may be telling you no, when in reality, they should be saying, oh, wow, like maybe this is a reality. So pillar number 1 is what I like to call the box. You've heard the box, this metaphorical box reference before when people say, think outside the box, or color inside the lines. There's this kind of metaphorical understanding that we have of boundaries. And sometimes it can be really difficult. I think especially for creative individuals, whenever you just say, you know what, just go make me something. And I've seen it happen before. I've led creatives. I've seen them hit walls where they say, okay, so like, what's my budget then? How much money can I spend on this thing, this theoretical project that you want me to start on? Or maybe it'd be like, hey, when do you need this by? Oh, just whenever you can get it to me soonest, and they say, well, cool, I'm not going to prioritize it at all then, because you're not giving me that box to help me understand what is a possibility here. I'll sit on it for 2 years and get it to you later. I think all creatives, and probably all people, but specifically talking about creatives, they need that box. They need some sort of boundaries, because I sat once in a creative meeting and we had an executive who was asking everyone, hey, what do you love about your job? What really excites you the most about your work? And it surprised me, because I think the majority of people in that room, we're talking like a room of like 20 plus creative individuals. The main answer in there was they liked problem solving. And so think about that with the team that you have. They like problem solving. And it's kind of hard to solve a problem when you don't know what the boundaries are. Just say, hey, go fix something. And it's like, well, what do you want me to fix? When you put someone in a box, when you tell them, hey, I need a project by next week, I can give you a $2,000 budget, but I need this really cool video to show off at this conference that I'm speaking at. And I really want our brand to be presented in the best light. I want it to be exciting. I want people to get hyped up and energized about what we're doing as a company. Suddenly you've told the creatives something that is sparking ideas in their brain. Their wheels start turning. They've spent some time in their creative softwares, whether they're a graphic designer, a photographer, a videographer. They've got some experience, assuming they do since you've hired them. So their wheels start turning. They start figuring out, okay, like, how am I going to approach this? I've got $2,000. Maybe it's not as much money as I want, but I can do something with it. And their wheels start turning, and they start problem solving and thinking. And suddenly you've got someone who's getting excited, who's pouring part of themselves into your work because you've given them a box to run with. Obviously this can, hit problems sometimes. People are people, and sometimes they may say, well, I want more money than that. And now you can have a conversation. You can learn how your team works. But pillar number 1 definitely is give them a box. Number 2, I think, actually stems primarily from a recent conference I attended. I attended a big video summit with a bunch of other creative leaders from major brands, and Dr. Andrew Huberman was one of the keynote speakers. And one of the marketing executives asked him a question that really resonated with me, which was, we as marketers want to know how to make sure that people remember us as a brand. It's like, how do they remember us? Remember the campaigns that we put in front of them? And Dr. Huberman's answer really was profound in that he talked about like neuroplasticity, the way that the things are remembered and retained in the brain. And the way he worded it was, the goal is not to be remembered, but the goal is to not be forgotten. And he expounded on that even further and said that whenever people look at content, whenever they see a brand, think of like McDonald's, for example, the iconic golden arches, right? The yellow, the red, the French fries, the look, the taste of them, it's all kind of iconic. And also, this shared experience that people have across the board is just how they imagine McDonald's, because that's how they've been for decades. People expect that. And to Dr. Huberman's point, if McDonald's were to go and change that and say, cool, we're changing our brand colors, the golden arches are now purple and the background color is no longer red, it's actually just going to be pink, we'd be like, what are you doing, McDonald's? What is wrong with you guys? Why are you changing this? It would feel unsettling to people. People would be unhappy. People would take to social media and, probably do the same thing to McDonald's that they did to Cracker Barrel when they tried to change their logo. I mean, perfect case studies right there. But that being said, like that in essence is the core of how do you not get forgotten? It's consistency. People want to see what they expect to see. Now, to add on top of that, there is another element of what Dr. Huberman said is like that helps people remember things because they don't forget it. It stays in their brain, but you do need to take it one step further and you can introduce subtle variations. Think of McDonald's when they did, their WickDonald's, where they made their golden arches upside down into a W, or think about, if they were to add a little icon on top of the golden arches, the golden arch M, for a brief campaign. All of us would look at that and say, cool, that's still obviously McDonald's, but kind of a fun take on it. Working at Crumble, running the video team, we see a perfect case study there too. We're talking about, weekly videos that we would pump out every Sunday, 6:00 Mountain Time, where we announce all of the new flavors for the week. Similar format every week, this really appetizing, mouth-watering hype video that's highlighting all of the cookies on a similar styled backdrop in a similar format at the same time every week, but the product changes. And customers became accustomed to that and learned that, oh, I can show up at this time. I'm going to get a brand experience that's going to sit with me because I'm expecting it. And that really resonated as, a really high-performing piece of content for Crumble. So that being said, some of you out there may be having, some small brands, some startups, some new companies that maybe haven't really defined who you are yet. And for you guys, I say throw some paint at the wall. But once you start seeing things that stick, you got to stick to them. Create the content that your customers, your clients, your fans, your audience, create what they want to see, what resonates with them. Be consistent. And if you don't know, pick something and just run with it. Say, this is who we are. This resonates with me and our brand. Run with it and keep on going. That brings me to pillar number 3, which is, in short, get out of the way. If you're an executive watching this, you're probably playing some role in content approvals to some degree for your team. You're probably approving budgets. You're probably approving, some element to how they work. And maybe you're not a founder or a chief executive officer. Maybe you're a CMO, or maybe you're a director over some creatives, or a manager even. Sometimes you just got to get out of the way. I've learned and have really found a lot of, comfort and feeling that I'm doing better as a leader when I get out of the way for people, because I know that I'm really good in certain categories. I've put a lot of time and training into my expertise. I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not the best in every category, and no one is. Ideally, if you're hiring someone to do a job, they're going to do it well. And that's why you hired them. Some people, maybe you're hiring them because you're training them up to the capabilities you want them to be. And so maybe take that with a grain of salt. But there's someone who I look up to as a mentor. His name's Parker Walbeck. And he said once when hiring individuals that you should kind of take the 80-20 rule. Whereas if somebody can do something 80% as good as you, just let them do the job. And I think the same goes for creatives. I've spent time as a creative waiting for somebody to approve something and just sitting there twiddling my thumbs or getting distracted by other projects when I really could be finishing up these high priority ticket items. But because I was waiting on somebody's approval from somebody who had way too busy of a schedule, they were in way too many meetings, or they were doing way too many other things to approve my content when I needed it. And that slowed me down. If you want a team who can have that triangle of speed, quality at a low cost, you've got to enable them with the systems that allow them to work quickly. And part of that is just getting out of the way and learning to trust your people. So that's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to move ahead to pillar number 4, which is you've got to hire the right person for the job. And I think gone are the days where you can just hire someone who just knows one type of video that your brand needs, or someone who can just take a couple pictures. Like, I think the day is here where we need generalists. And if you don't know what a generalist is, like, hear me out while I explain it. It's somebody who has a broad set of skills that can apply to a lot of different categories. If I'm speaking about, hiring a videographer, I'm talking about someone who doesn't just film, but someone who films and edits and sound designs and color grades, and who can plan their own projects and deliver it from beginning to end to your clients, to your marketing team, to whoever it is. You need somebody who can do that. Why? Well, because one, it's cheaper to hire one person than it is to hire an entire team, and technology has made it possible that one person can do the job pretty much as good as what we need an entire team to do. Or maybe, like, you may say there's a quality gap, but realistically, like, what actually performs, people don't always care that it performs at the caliber of what, a Hollywood level team creates. Sometimes something that's created by one person with their phone will perform just as well. But having somebody who knows all of those steps is more versatile. Not only can they do the work for you faster and cheaper, but they can also do it for you in new creative ways. Because when you bring a problem to them, back to this box method, now this person has a broader set of skills, which empowers them to be creative in new ways. I've experienced this myself as a generalist who, I can create videos, I can film, I can edit, I can light them, I can color them, I can do the sound design, I can pick up a camera and take photographs professionally. I can do it on 35mm film. I can do motion graphics and 3D animation, and the list goes on. I've put a lot of time into mastering these skills. And sometimes I used to feel bad because I'd hear that phrase go around where it's jack of all trades, master of none, and used to think, hey, wait, I feel like I'm better than just a master of nothing. But then I learned about the second half of that phrase, which is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And that has really resonated with me. And I think it's absolutely true that when you can hire someone who is a master of none, they are oftentimes better than a master of one, because you get somebody who is versatile in new ways, who will solve your problems in the most creative ways. Those are the most creative individuals, the people who have experience in a broad set of approaches. I mean, you may find the same thing in other industries, finding someone who goes to medical school that has a degree in something that's not some biology or microbiology, degree. They bring a new set of lenses, a new perspective on the industry, and that's valuable. So, I mean, we've hit on these 4 pillars, but like, what next? Cool. Like, you go and implement these today, I guarantee you'll see some operational improvements in your team. I mean, really, that's the whole point. Is it's not about just saying, cool, you go do this, I guarantee your content's going to take a massive step up. This is really all about efficiency. Sure, your content should improve, your people should be being more creative and improving, and I think this will help, but really it's all about building a system that enables you to work faster, cheaper, and better, and enables people to have that time to be more creative, to try new things, and to really deliver what the results that you're expecting. And you may be saying, well, shouldn't I be using artificial intelligence to do this? Well, I'll tell you right now, if you don't have the right systems in place right now, artificial intelligence artificial intelligence is going to do one thing, and that one thing is it's going to exploit all of your weaknesses, all the problems and gaps that you have in your system. It's going to exploit them all. It's going to waste their time. I've spent hundreds of hours in AI tools and figuring out how AI works for creative teams, and I can tell you firsthand, it will waste people's times unless you have the system set up properly. You've got to give AI, which AI is right now this tool that empowers people to do better work than they could on their own. You've got to give it to the right people. You can't just give AI photography to your marketer who's never picked up a camera in their life, because odds are they don't know what to look for. I've given AI tools and some training to people who don't have that background, and even with prompting and training, like, I would see them still falling short. They'd be missing the bar of the quality that we needed to hit. And I learned that, I've got to put a little more effort into training these people now, because they have to learn the things that the experts already know. And so it's not just this shortcut, this quick pass. You've got to build the systems properly. The same goes for your operations. If your operations aren't set up properly, AI is not going to get you there. It's just going to waste people's times, and it's just going to make people have to learn things twice. My grandma used to always say, lazy people work twice as hard, and I think AI is no solution to that saying. But that being said, if you really do want these systems implemented and maybe you don't have the time to do it, I mean, you're still here. So obviously you've taken something away from this. You're learning and you're motivated to really solve this problem for your team. That's why I'm here. I'm a fractional chief creative officer, leveraging my expertise running the creative for a billion-dollar brand, generating billions of social media views, running my own video production company, gathering all this expertise and working with creatives all over the place. I know how to set up operational systems, how to audit your existing workflows, how to train and mentor creatives the same way that others have trained and mentored me. I know how to do that for your team, and that's why I'm here. So if you click on the link above or in the description below, you can go to my website and schedule a free 30-minute consultation where we'll talk about your existing workflows, the problems you're facing, and start brainstorming some strategies to help you get past them, help you find resolutions, and find the success that you were looking for in your social media and your content, ultimately building a brand that you are extremely proud of. I know we can do that, and so I'm looking forward to chatting with you, but stay in touch too. Make sure you like and subscribe, because I'll be posting more useful content like this, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Peace.